All right, this is Jeff Zimmerman with FightNews.com. I'm with Charles. His nickname was the Future Hatley. We'll see if he's changed that name now that he's about 36 years old, but impressive record, 30-2, one draw, 21 knockouts, a Dallas star, a Dallas legend. He's got a big fight coming up on May 14th back in Dallas. How you doing, Charles?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Happy to be fighting again here in Dallas.
Yeah, man, let's talk about it because you kind of came into the scene, like burst onto the scene, but boxing has always been in your blood. It seems like it's the family business. For those people that don't know, and probably by this time everybody knows your story, but for the new boxing fans out there, talk about how you got into boxing and just kind of how the family's been around it, and just kind of, and then your dad kind of being the linchpin of it all.
Right. Yeah, well, I started as a kid boxing and won the Golden Glove, Silver Glove, Junior Olympics, and those type of tournaments, and also was an Olympic alternate 2008. And a lot of promoters came in and wanted to do deals with me, but they were sending their middlemen to me, and we actually didn't sign with not one of the promoters. And got a phone call for a big fight once I got up in the rankings, and went to Australia, beat Anthony Mundine for the WBC Silver Belt title, and was trying to get a big fight here in the USA, and they didn't want to get to me, and they told me I would be fighting Canelo Alvarez after that win, and that didn't happen because I wasn't signed to any of the big promoters. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So after that, I had to sign with one of them, and the only one was left was Don King, and that was like one of the biggest mistakes of my life. And before you know it, I took a L right after signing with Don King, and I had to climb my way back up the ladder, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm almost back at the top again.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but you mentioned, started as a young kid in Junior Olympics and so forth. But the boxing in your family runs deep, right?
Oh yeah, my father, he was a boxer. My grandfather was a boxer. My brother, he was a great boxer as well. We all boxed. It's in my blood, and that's what I'm known to do. My family's known for boxing.
Right, and you guys put, in essence, boxing somewhat on the map in Dallas.
Yeah.
During this current era, you guys, were, the name before the Errol Spence, the Virgil Ortiz, the Mo Hookers, and so forth. How does that feel knowing, you guys kind of were that starting point, early in the 2000s of kind of a renaissance in Dallas?
Yeah. Well, the fighters just spoke on. They're great fighters, man, but they've never wanted to give me my props or my father his props. And the reason why they're boxing today is because of me. They looked up to me when they were coming up in the game. They always wanted to come to the gym, wanted to come and spar, wanted to know me, wanted to get to know me and meet me. And now, since they're at the top, it's like they don't want to bring my name up for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I said, you know what, that's cool. They don't have to, because I'm gonna make my name relevant again.
And I know, you mentioned promoting, yourself and your dad, and you guys had Black Glove Promotions. Why did you make the choice to not sign with the promoter at that time? Because you were a hot item back then, but you guys decided to do it yourself. Why was that decision made?
Well, they was sending a lot of the middlemen was coming to us with different kind of deals that didn't sound good at all. And we just told them, like, we want to speak to the main man and find out what this deal really is about, because anytime a middleman come, they trying to get some money out of you. And I know if we could have spoke to the main man, we would have made something happen. But it would never come through us that way. It was always a middleman trying to make the deal happen. And so we just said, you know what, we just do it on our own. We wasn't hurting for any funds to make the fights happen. So we started promoting and doing the fights ourselves. And before you know it, we were at the top, but we still needed, no matter what, in the boxing world, you have to be signed to a big time promoter to get the big fights and the TV fights.
And you mentioned Don King, and we don't need to talk about Don King's history, but you did say it was the worst decision you ever made. Why was that?
Well, I hate to speak bad on anyone, and I'm not going to speak bad on him and what he did to my career, but if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't sign with him for sure. I would have signed with one or the other. I would have stayed self-promoted and waited on another fight to come through before signing with him because he actually tried to kill my career. Yeah, man. It's it was true. Everything is true. His stories is true. They're very true, man. The stories about Don King, they're very true. And I didn't believe him because he told me they wasn't true. He told me, a lot of the boxers paid him to let them talk about him like that. And it was false, man, what he said, because everything that they said he was doing, he did it. He did it to me.
And you found out on your own.
Yeah, I found that on my own.
You live and learn, right? But you're still here.
It's cool. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's part of the game I learned, and I'll make sure the fighters up under my promotion, I'll make sure they don't go through anything like that.
Yeah, and real quick, you talked about Anthony Mundine. You went over to Australia, which is a big feat in itself, and earned the WBC Silver Belt, and that was a huge win, and bringing that belt back and fighting a legend like that. And then I think it was about a year and a half. You got in the ring with Jermell Charlo, who has been the champion ever since. Talk about that fight. You're on top of the world after the Australia fight, and then you had the tough loss against Jermell.
1 second, let me get my charger. 1 second. All right, yeah, man. Yeah, I went out after Australia, man. I trained my butt off for that fight, and came back with the win. I was happy, man. It was a life change. I went over to a different country, and they didn't expect me to do what I did to him. He was a great fighter. He was a man in Australia, and I went over and demolished him like what I figured I would do. And I came back and I took a big L to Jermell Charlo, which was a world champion, still is a world champion. And it's like I lost to a bomb. Everyone try to make it seem like I lost to a bomb. It's not like he's a bomb. Several fighters have lost to world champions and they're still on top. And, I took one L out of a world title, and now Charles Hatley lost to a bomb, Jermell Charlo. I don't understand how that happened. They tried to sweep my name under the bus after the L, but I'm still here, and I'm gonna show May 14th that Charles Hatley is still one of the biggest names out there, and I should be getting a big fight after that.
Well, and you are fighting. You are fighting for the WBC USNBC belt. But did you lose? Because you've only fought about 4 times since that Charlo fight. Did you lose your passion, Charles, for boxing, or the politics of it all, or during that time after that loss? Because you went a little bit inactive.
Most definitely not. I didn't lose that. It was just that, like I said, a lot of people made it seem like I lost to a bomb. Instead of me getting another fight after that loss, like a lot of other fighters did that lost to him, they tried to sweep me under the bus because I wasn't signed to a big time promoter. And I was still willing to fight anybody out there in the game to show that I was one of the greatest out there, and they didn't want to get me into the big fights anymore.
Got it. So you were still ready to go. It just, like you said, they kind of put you in exile there for a little bit.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up, because, you know, I've been following your career for quite some time here in Dallas and not seeing you. But I did get to cover your last fight, as I told you I would, in Dallas in 2021. And you fought a 10-rounder, which was a little bit shocking. Obviously, you were the main event at this black tie event, but 10 rounds coming, you know, after not fighting for a long time, and you were still going strong, and you stopped the guy, Frederick Lawson, in the 10th round. How did you feel in that fight, and did that show you still have a lot left in the tank?
Oh, most definitely, man. They were saying that he was a young goat. He's a dog. He's from a different country. He's strong. He's gonna beat me, and just different things that would try and make me lose my composure in the fight and things like that. But you know, I went into the fight with a game plan, and I stuck to it because I knew that I was still relevant. I knew I was still champion of the world, and I wanted to show that I'm still champion of the world. So I went in there, and like you said, I stopped in the 10th round. And most of the time, when you find out you have a great fighter on your team, they stop fighters in later rounds. You know, and I showed it I can do that. You know, I was still energized all the way through the 10th round. And most fighters, you know, they gas out. They try and say, hey, I'm 36. But most fighters, most world champions are older. They are 35, 34, 35, 36. You know, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, when Triple G was champion, he was in his late 30s. Terence Crawford. I can keep going. You know, most of them are older. But, you know, I feel like my mind is better. I'm stronger. I'm more focused. I just don't see anyone beating me right now. And I'm ready for one of those big fights. So I'm going to show that I deserve that.
Now, the guy you're fighting on May 14th in Dallas at the Bomb Factory, I don't even want to try to pronounce his name. Jamshidbek is his first name. But what do you know about him? And, you know, everybody you get in the ring with is a potential threat. What do you know about him?
I don't know much about him. I'll adapt to his style. And that's what I try and do with most fighters, because at the end of the day, you try and watch somebody, they can come in with a different style. But I know that he's a southpaw and that he likes to brawl. He's a Russian fighter, and I'm prepared for those kind of fights. I've been in several of them, and I know what to do to beat those kind of fighters. So whatever game plan he comes with, you know, I'm willing to crack his game plan and break him down.
Now, you're fighting him at 147, if I believe. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that the fight? Is that the weight now you'll be campaigning at going forward?
Most definitely. I was 147 before I went to Australia, but I got the phone call for that world title, and I went up and I stayed there because I won that title. But yeah, welterweight is where I feel more comfortable at. And the only way I would go back up to 154 is for a rematch with Charlo. Do I want the rematch? Yes. Can't wait. I've messaged him several times, you know, because he know what happened. He know Don King got in the way. But nothing bad about him. You know, if he can give me the rematch, I'd love to take it.
And 147, as we know, is a pretty stacked weight class.
Right.
Probably, arguably the most stacked in boxing, and a lot of guys you know very close, from Spence, Virgil Ortiz, and down the line. Assuming everything goes as planned in this next fight, what do you see as your next one?
You know, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that lately. Who would be my next fight after this? And man, I don't know. You know, I was thinking maybe Ugas. That's what I was thinking, because he just came off of a loss to Spence, and it was a pretty big L he took. So for him to regain something by him beating me, that would help him out. But I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's several fighters out there I can name that I would anyone at 147 that could help me get to the next level. I would love to talk. I would love to fight them. Anyone. And there's not a fighter out there welterweight I wouldn't fight right now. Not one.
Do you feel like the kind of the somewhat of the inactivity though has kept you fresh, and that's why, you know, you still have a lot of energy even at 36 to keep fighting?
Yeah, yeah, man. I think about that all the time because I look at a lot of fighters now. They can't even talk. You know, they don't even look right. And I wonder if it's from sparring or so many fights. I don't know. But yeah, man, I feel like I'm still young because I haven't fought so many fights within the past years, you know. I've been active, very active. And it showed. Like I told you, my last fight that was last year, September 30th, you know, it showed. It showed that I was still one of the best out there. And by my layoffs, the little layoff I took, I feel like it helped me out a lot.
Well, I can tell you this from what I've seen, you're always in shape. So, you know, not everyone stays in shape between fights, and that's something that I know working out and training is something you do religiously.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll wrap it up here in a minute. I'm here with Charles Hatley. I think we're gonna have to come up with a new nickname, Charles, the future. Maybe the present. Maybe we'll start calling you the present.
Hey, that might be a good one. I'm gonna put something together before the fight, before this next fight. It'll be something different for sure.
But listen, so I mean, the next big fight in boxing that everyone does talk about, that's been in brewing for some time, is EJ and Bud Crawford. What are your thoughts on that fight, and how do you see it playing out?
Man, you know, I'm a hometown guy. No matter what, I'ma always root for the hometown. I don't care who it is. And I grew up with Crawford. We was brothers from the Olympic trials. We grew up through the amateurs, through the silver gloves, golden gloves, everything. We fought, we was friends, we still friends, you know, and that's gonna be a great fight, man. That's all I can say. It's gonna be a legendary fight. And I can't wait for it to happen because I get that question all the time. Who do you think will win? And they both, you know, Crawford, he's a great boxer. Great. Errol, he can box, he can brawl, you know, he's strong. But I've seen Crawford, you know, break through guys that are strong and brawlers. So it's gonna be definitely a chess match, man. So I can't wait for it to happen. Hopefully it can happen. Hopefully.
Yeah, and you and everybody else, right? That is the fight to make, and hopefully we get it at Cowboy Stadium. That would be great. Let me ask you though, we talked about the family business a little bit, and even when you're not fighting, you're always at an amateur show, you're always working with someone. And I don't know if he's related or not, but there's a guy by the name of Jordan Jenkins, JJ Takeover, that I see you and your dad working with. And it seems like he has a lot of promise. Talk about him a little bit.
Jordan Jenkins and Joshua Jenkins, they're twins. They're great, man. They're great amateurs right now. I feel like they both have a shot at the Olympics. And we're doing everything possible to try and make that happen. You know, they said we wanted them to turn pro when they didn't make the last Olympic team. We said, man, y'all are great pros, bro. Y'all have professional styles. They said, no, our dream is the Olympics. So now we're trying to do everything we can to make it happen, make it possible for them, keep them focused, you know, keep them eating right, keep them healthy, keep them training. They're 21 years old. It's so hard to keep a 21-year-old focused, man. But hey, we're doing everything we can to do it. And I feel like they're on their way. For sure.
And they're out of Dallas as well? They're local kids?
Yes, sir. They're out of Dallas. They're out of Dallas, man. And they train right here in Oak Cliff.
Well, there you go. Charles Hatley, as I mentioned, one of the guys that really started this era of boxing, this great era of boxing in Dallas-Fort Worth. And now he's working with the next young champions, kind of coming full circle. But as he said, he's not done. He's a fresh 36, looking to get in some big fights. But first, he's got to take care of business on May 14th in Dallas at the Bomb Factory. And listen, Charles, it's been an honor to cover you all these years. I'm glad that you're still out there. I know you have a lot left in the tank, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Hey, thanks a lot for everything, man. Like when I see you out in public, everything, I see you're a great guy. Thanks for the combo.
Thanks, Charles.
See you later.